There's different ways in measuring body fat percentage. My favorite and what we use at the store is calipers. And calipers actually pinch your skin, and depending how thick your skin is, that tells me how much body fat you have. The thicker your skin, the more fat. And you've seen those handheld devices. And those are okay and decent to use for a super quick reading. And the way they work, remember how I said that when you eat carbohydrates, blood glucose levels goes in there and stored as glycogen, and then you pull in water? Well, water conducts electricity. So if I punch in this little machine how much I weigh and how tall I am, it knows how much mass I'm made of. Then now I hold that handheld device, or maybe the one you can stand on like this one. It shoots real light ohms of electricity, which means calculating the distance between 2 points from one arm down across to the other arm, or one leg to the other. And there's a little computer in there that times to see how long it takes to go from one side to the other. So the more water I have, the faster the electricity is going to travel. So the leaner I will be, according to this machine. Again, this is a quick generalization calculation because there's a few factors that can alter a body fat reading from any of those devices I just mentioned. So let's just imagine if I drank, for example, wine at night and then coffee in the morning, which both tend to dehydrate you a bit. So if I'm dehydrated, both devices are going to give me a higher body fat reading than what it should be. And then after drinking a gallon of water a day, which I traditionally do, I go home, I remeasure, and damn, my body fat is lower. So, and considering that I'm a male, my fluid levels don't fluctuate as much as females do. So if I had a female client and I happen to use this and it's close to her menstrual cycle, they tend to be higher or might be lower. Okay, so same thing if you just flew on an airplane somewhere, flying makes you a little bit dehydrated. So that can too also be not so accurate reading. So these are really good if we have a really stabilized meal plan and we're consistent with our hydration status and so on. But let's face it, when you exercise, you sweat, you perspire. So if I were to measure your body fat afterwards, you'll probably be a little more fatter than if you did before. Now with calipers, I like using them, and there's about 20 different formulas you can use. So when we do body fat measurements, I do a 3-point measurement. Men, it's chest, abs, and thigh. For women, it's tricep, suprailiac, and thigh as well. When testing for a client that's doing a bodybuilding show, I do a 7-point measurement called the Jackson-Pollock method, because the more points to pinch, I'll have a more accurate measurement of their body fat leading up to their competition. Another reason I like using calipers, an example, if my client was a woman, I measure her tricep, her iliac crest, and her thigh 1 week, and then the next week after I measure again the same, and her iliac crest and her thigh went down, but her tricep went up. Well, have you ever noticed when you burn your finger on a stove, you get this little welt on the top and it looks swollen? Well, when you're working out with weights, you're tearing down muscle tissue. So when your body covers it with fluid to repair that tissue, and that usually takes about 24 to 72 hours from the time you work out. So if I did chest really hard today, for the next 2 to 3 days, I'll be a little tender and puffy. If I measure my client's triceps and they're higher, but her waist and her thigh is lower, we don't gain fat in our arms and lose it everywhere else. We tend to gain it evenly and lose it evenly. So I probably know that she trained arms or chest because you also use your triceps when you train chest the last 24 to 72 hours. So, and if her thigh was higher and her waist and triceps are lower, well, she probably did legs within 24 to 72 hours. Now, if her waist was higher and it's a female, it could be that she's starting her menstrual cycle or that she's retaining sodium. Perhaps maybe a dinner from a restaurant from the night before. And if it's a male, more likely he's just retaining sodium. He probably just ate too much salt. So this machine gives me a little bit more idea on what's going on with my clients. This one's a quick one, measurement to use. This one right here, I mean, it's kind of like what they're doing. They're just okay machines. So if you want something quick, again, they're not the most accurate, but it's quick. And these are all just estimations. To really know what your body fat is, there's a body scan called DEXA, and DEXA will scan your whole body, which tells us your body fat, your skin thickness, your bone thickness, how much fat you really have, how much muscle mass you have, and so on. It's really not cheap. I think the last time I checked was about from $130 to about up to $400 to have it done. And there's also hydrostatic weighing, or that underwater dunk tank where you can get measured while you're underwater, and that can be around $50 to $100. But I don't expect you to spend that much money for the test. What I really want to do with my clients is to establish a consistent trend. And I don't care how much fat you truly have. I just want to see if you're dropping fat and gaining or maintaining lean muscle over time. One final note, these calipers are only as good as the person who's doing the pinching.